But really, we need to move beyond that as well. It's killing fields, and in the working environment, men aren't necessarily allowed on there anymore. It's only women. Women are being given the opportunity to move around freely, and particularly the black woman. So the black woman will get a promotion, the black man won't necessarily. We'll see a lot of our brothers doing gardening or landscape gardening in for the council and whoever, but the sisters are able to go on and be solicitors or lawyers or legal secretaries and what have you, and we're ending up getting better wages than the men are. So during half term now, you see a lot of men pushing prams and in the park and stuff.
Yes.
What is going on here? Because, you know, a lot of the men,
role reversal.
Yeah, that's right. And again, that's part of the death style where the scene has been set, that the male is being taken out of their role of maintainer, of being provider and protector for their family and their community and their nation. And the women are being put in that role instead. And then the men are at home now looking after the children, and the women are out on the plantation. And really, in that's part of setting the scene again of death. It's a death scene. That's right,
huge.
A crime scene.
It's a crime scene, a huge crime scene, you know. And it's if we do not identify our scene as a crime scene, then we can't move forward.
Yeah.
So it's really important that we look at it that way. Growth and development. How far can we get in that role reversal kind of situation? How far can the black family, or can the black family survive? Is it viable in that role reversal kind of scene that we take as the norm, although we know it's not normal?
Yeah, can you just explain that for us as a man? You know, what your responsibility, what your role and responsibility is, because in us being part of the crime scene, and in us being a victim of crimes, we don't necessarily know. Sometimes we know that we're hurt and we're damaged and we're the victim of crime, but we don't know what the crime is, and we don't know how badly we've been damaged. Can you just explain a bit about the role of the male?
I will get to that, brothers and sisters. But in truth, I wanted to analyze the scene, because that really, what you're speaking about, is part of the investigation. For us to find out what it is that we're supposed to do, that is where investigation comes along. You know, because our scene is being set. And if we just take the scene that we are given, which is what we are doing, and it becomes the norm, then we can't grow. But Islam demands that we investigate. And in truth, that's the third part of the trilogy. Crime, scene, then investigation. We have to analyze our scene. Before we can investigate, we've got to understand who is controlling our scene. We've got to know who is behind our scene. You know, the black man and woman's identity has been given us above top secret. That is why we can have flyers with sisters on it in a Eurocentric style. That is why we can have images of the black man or the brothers on the television with their pants hanging down and acting thug. That is a scene that has been given to us. Right. You know, and we have to understand that our true identity is not given to us. It is above top secret. Yeah. So our scene is one where we are constantly fed these pleasing visuals, pleasing visual images, seen. That is what we see. Beauty pageants, frivolity, junk food. Yeah. The society designates hand-picked role models. And these role models keep us molded in a rolling slumberland. Yeah. They sponsor low-down songs and keep our minds bathed in degenerate thoughts and actions. They work night and day to keep us away from the truth of who we really are. They set the scene, yeah? And they keep us away from the vehicle which can restore our balance. They ban Minister Farrakhan. They block us from having a TV show on the terrestrial television, on the mainstream television, where we can reach our brothers and sisters. So we have to use the internet. We have to use commercial. We have to use community radio. We have to go on the streets with the Final Call newspapers, because we can't, forward that vehicle which will bring us back or give us the knowledge of who we are via mainstream.
I'm thinking about what you were just saying about comforting, and about the shape of the female, the outline, the form of the female being so comforting.
That which is seen. And the sisters are showing us, so it is really seen in their dress.
Right, but the sisters aren't just showing it for no reason. It's part of the plan. It's part of the agenda that's being set for us, and that's part of the killing of us. And I was listening to a tape with Minister Farrakhan yesterday, and he was speaking about, sisters being a part of the Millions More movement event, the 10-year anniversary of the Million Man March, and coming along with the men. But sisters, don't let everybody see your form. That's how he said it. And he said that it's not natural for a man to be able to see the form of a female and think straight. It's not natural. And he said just to see the form is something, but to be able to touch it, woo! That's what he said. He said to be able to touch it, or just to see it alone, is enough to comfort the man's mind, to soothe the man's mind. Allah God
this
knows.
This is not soothing our minds today with the form that we're seeing.
Exactly.
Not
because
soothing.
if you're right,
lulling us to sleep, of course,
if you're,
becomes a major tool.
Right. But if it's happening continuously, day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute, that comfort then becomes a slumber.
Yes.
And that slumber becomes a sleep, and that sleep becomes a coma.
Yes.
And you don't even realise that you're being lulled to sleep with that. So it becomes a tool for our death and our demise, as opposed to something that's supposed to be soothing.
Yes.
And something that's being God-given. It becomes something that's really devil-given, and it hinders us rather than helps.
Yes. So our scene is being set then. Our scene has been set. It's a plan that has been implemented for the longest time. And it's a plan that doesn't need to be changed because it works.
Yeah.
And because we are constantly in this slumberland and not looking to break out of it. Or if we are looking to break out of it, those ones are quickly jumped on and quickly squashed and quickly pushed to one side. So we don't see any of this as a crime because the enemies have not given it to us as a crime. The enemies of humanity, I'm speaking of now, have not given this to us as a crime. Remember, we talked about in CSI, the forensic scientists are given crimes to investigate. Here you go. You investigate this crime. Yeah. And they take those crimes and they go off and investigate them. But there are bigger crimes that really need investigating that we never get. We never get given. Yeah. The forensic scientists, the detectives in CSI are given crimes to investigate. If their bosses who assign the investigations are corrupt, if the bosses who assign the investigations mislead them, then the forensic scientists may never investigate anything that benefits the masses of the people.
That's actually like media blackouts, aren't they?
Yes.
Where, I don't know if you know, brothers and sisters, but within journalism, we got taught about media blackouts, where judges actually state and say very clearly that the media are not allowed to report on specific cases or specific aspects of cases until it actually comes to court. And that way that the evidence or the news and the investigation can't be hindered or hampered or tampered with by the media or by the public just knowing aspects of the information. So that's what they do sometimes. They have media blackouts and we don't even know. How won't we know? Because it's not going to be in the news. So if they say News International say that they're not going to have anyone reporting on a specific item of news, then we're not going to hear it unless we hear it from Reuters. And if they both say, well, look, News International and Reuters say, well, look, the two major big companies, if the two major companies say that they're not going to